at how far the program like has fallen. But he like that was just like getting a 4 or 5 star recruit right there. Like on the Manny train.
For real, Manny is changing opinions left and right every day. By the truckload. It's really incredible.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. And that tweet I brought up about Greg Rousseau getting mud hauled against
dude, he has some just classic freaking tweets that I wish like we could just compile into a book.
Oh yeah, dude, I screenshot. I have probably 20 to 25 tweets that I've screenshotted from Duck, and just I'll flip through them on occasion and just laugh to myself.
I hear you. Well, should we get to the mailbag?
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So I'll go first. This is from our boy Jack Fitzgerald, friend of the show. He says, do you think Tate Martell could be used by Rhett Lashley again as a wide receiver, whether it be as a decoy or a part of one of those tricks we've been hearing about? Do you see Tate getting some burn? ?
I want to say yes, but here's the thing. I think he's too talented to just be a gimmick. I mean, his like shuttle agility is elite. What he tested at as a freshman in college on lasers, I'm pretty sure, like it would have been elite in the NFL draft combine. So his quickness is unreal. So why would he need to be a gimmick? That's my question. Is I'm hoping that he gets burned. I'm not confident in saying that he will, but I don't think it needs to be a gimmick. He's an elite athlete. Just put the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and I mean, everyone knows how I feel about Tate. He may not be the most polished passer. I mean, he's not like he's just not. And but he, like, just like you said, he is a great athlete. I mean, Urban Meyer wanted him. So, I mean, you see some of his highlights, like you can use him in certain situations with him and King on the field at the same time. I don't know if at receiver though, I honestly don't see it just because of we have so many receivers.
Yeah.
Like we have so many wide receivers like Wiggins, Pope, Harley, Payton, and then the true freshman. And I don't know. I would love to see some type of whether it's like Wildcat or how the Steelers used Cordell Stewart back in the 90s. I think he's just too talented not to be used.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Hey, so we're gonna stop the show for just a second. I have to run and pee really quick. I'll edit the time that I'm gone out. All right, I apologize for that. I've had like 2 gallons of water today.
No, you are all good, man. You're gonna be shredded.
Maybe. I got like 20 pounds to lose before you'll be able to see anything, but
yeah, I'm freaking like not starving myself, but I'm trying to lose some weight before I go to Miami next week. But okay, next question is from New England Canes fan. He says, if the Canes end up adding some big boys to the schedule, Clemson, Notre Dame, etc., and don't have much success, is Manny gone? Or does he get some leeway because of the weird season?
I think he'll get some leeway whether he deserves it or not because of the weird season. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of just the vibe that I get from the board is that I think a lot of these people would prefer status quo. Because, I mean, if you think of it, we've really only gotten change in the last few years when there was pretty much people like prepared to burn down the Hecht Center.
Yeah.
With Mark Richt and with Al Golden, I mean, I think like it was getting to the point where they were going to have to like get it, like disguise John Richt to get him from the car to the Hecht Center, like really nothing has happened until people are so pissed off that they can't even control themselves anymore. So I think the board will look for every excuse to keep status quo with Manny Diaz.
Yeah.
And whether or not that's the right thing remains to be seen. As Duck has talked about a lot on the podcast, and I agree with him. Like it's hard. He just referenced Butch. Like Butch sucked for a few years. Our teams under Butch sucked for a few years. Like it takes time for some coaches. Some get it right away, but so for better or worse, I'm going to say that the board finds every excuse to keep Manny around.
Well, and also you have to think about because it's going to be limited to 10 games, correct, in the regular season?
I honestly don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read too much about that, but like it's going to be such a weird season, and just with everything going on, and I don't see I just don't see Manny leaving after this season unless we go like 3-8 and all hell breaks loose. But there's a reason why these recruits are coming to Miami. And just like you said, like it takes a minute. Like Nick Saban went 7-6 his first season at Alabama. Like it doesn't. Yeah. Dabo Swinney struggled his like first 3 or 4 years at Clemson. So I think people. And I'm almost going back on my past words, but I think we need to, unless we like pull like a Willie Taggart at FSU, I don't see Manny going anywhere after this year. So
yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't know. Maybe it's a money thing, and if it is, I'll be bugged. But I feel like the board prefers to not make changes and. Screw that.
Yeah. They don't like tension. They don't like drama.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly that they don't like paying 2 coaches at once, no matter what the product on the field is. So.
Yeah, it's whatever. Okay, from Beantown Sammy, he says, who is the player on offense and the player on defense that needs to step it up the most this year?
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I can go first. I already have my answer. Mark Pope and Nesta Silvera.
Yeah.
And I've said that many times on this podcast and articles, things like that. These 2 players came into Miami out of high school with so much hype, and obviously Nesta, did the whole crib thing, and we've just expected them to become those superstars for Miami. I mean, Mark Pope was. Did you know he was a 5-star? Did you know that?
What?
Yeah, crazy, right? I know. But especially Nesta is healthy, and Mark Pope has an offense that suits his game style. So it really is up to them. And yeah, for me, I don't even think there's a close second option.
Yeah. I agree with you. Nesta was the first name that immediately popped into my head. For the sake of something different, though, so, Nesta would be my first choice, but I will go with Gervin Hall. I think Gervin Hall is good, and he has been good, but I just feel like there's so much more he can do, and I want to see it out of him. If he repeats his performance from last season, I would just feel a little unsatisfied with how his career went here. I feel like he's too talented to be a slightly above average safety.
Yeah. And I've talked up Gervin so much. Yeah. So much. Didn't Nick Saban fly a helicopter down to recruit Gervin Hall or something like that?
I mean, that sounds right, but I can't remember for sure. But yeah, I'm with you. I think you talk up Gervin Hall for good reason. I mean, I've never disagreed with you in hyping him up. I mean, he should be good. He has all the talent. It's just, I mean, he's my choice behind Nesta. And then, on offense, I say this in a way that I hope it lights a fire for Mark Pope. But dude, he hasn't done enough in his career to even be considered this guy for me. I don't think he's a guy that needs to step up the most because he's never really played. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Who's to say he even gets on the field? He hasn't. I don't know. Nesta has started most of the games that he's been healthy for, so I think it's fair to say that he needs to step up and improve his play. But guess what? Mark Pope doesn't even play. So, I don't
got that one Hail Mary. And
yeah, I don't mean that as disrespect to Pope because, he's very talented and I hope he figures it out. But, I'm trying to think. I'll probably go with John Campbell. We really need help on the offensive line.
a good one.
Yeah, and I mean whether it's him, I actually feel pretty good about our interior line right now. Obviously, I'm Navon is gonna leave a hole there. Hopefully Usman Traore or however you say his name, hopefully he can step in, or whether it's Scaife or whoever, whoever steps into that other spot. But so I'll just say, you know what, I'm going to change my answer to whoever plays tackle opposite of Jared Williams, because that could be Scaife, honestly.
Yep.
So I just think whoever plays in that other tackle spot, we really need help from them this season because it's self-explanatory in my opinion. We sucked last year,
especially the left tackle, just because it was so it was so hard to watch last year. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, I don't want to get angry and think about the horrendous games. Okay, Alex Smith asks, will we get 2018 Derek King?
Do you want my honest thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the trust tree.
This is the what is it in Meet the Parents? This is the circle of trust or something like that.
Family circle of trust.
Yep.
Are you a pothead fucker?
Oh, that's a great movie.
Great.
No, I'm going to say we don't. Well, it depends. Are we going to get 50 touchdowns out of Derek King? No, I don't think we do. I think he'll be great, and I think he'll do what he needs to do for us. But I don't want to expect that out of him because, I mean, those seasons don't happen often. So I'm going to say that we get in the realm of 85 to 90% of 2018 Derek King, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And compare that to what our quarterback play has been the last few years. We will take that in a heartbeat. And people have to realize 2018 Derek King, I think he was like the first player in college football history to have like 50 total touchdowns as a quarterback or something like that, because he threw for 36 touchdowns, almost 3,000 yards, and he rushed for 674 yards and 14 touchdowns. That's more rushing touchdowns than anybody had on Miami last year. And 36 touchdowns, that would shatter a single season school record at Miami. So I don't think we're going to get that Derek King, also because the competition's a little bit better. So
I think you'll be closer to 40 total touchdowns than 50.
Yeah, I could see. I do think that Rhett Lashley is going to have a lot of design runs to him, because Lashley knows how to use those dual threat quarterbacks. He did the same thing with Marshall at Auburn. So, but yeah, to say that he's going to get 50 total touchdowns, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, and I agree. And even if he has, let's say, 43 total touchdowns on the year, we're still going to be a really good football team. So,
we need him to score many touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree. That was the next point that I was going to make, is that Houston team needed him to do that. And, they didn't even – didn't they only win like 8 games that year? So I mean, they needed a lot from De'Aaron King to have a good season, a decent season, because there just wasn't a whole